Go, damn hair. I gotta brush it. It's ridiculous. What's the dogs? Back in the window. Yeah, bro. You wanna say hi? Jump up and then say hi. Jump on me. God, I'm black, bro. Your hair is doing it. I don't know what it's doing. I'll give you a bath. That's what I'm gonna do. Take you out the wild week, but negative energy out there. I almost said something negative and I caught myself. Mikey, what's going on, brother? Hey, Jack, what's cracking? What's cracking? So any new subscribers, welcome to the tribe. You're definitely gonna, everybody says they're learning something, so you're definitely gonna learn something, I guess. And today, this morning, it's not no grind my gears, you know that. I'm gonna read a little bit, Iron Republic. But I just wanted to make a statement. Let me go ahead and do it now, because I don't want to be here on here too long, because I want to come back in a little while, and I want to go ahead and get some reading, some real good reading. I want to enlighten some brothers who are not enlightened to this fact. Now a lot of y'all know I have Instagram. I'm about to get rid of that. I deactivated my Facebook account. At least somebody says it looks like it's still there. And I'm like, I don't even remember the password. I mean, I can go ahead and create a new one. I don't want to do that, but I'm gonna go back in there and I'm gonna screenshot everything and I'm gonna send it off to them and tell them, you know enough where I stand at. Now, the reason why I'm saying is that you have enough young individuals up to their about 30s, not all, but quite a bit. You have out of 330 million Americans. We're not talking about we know not majority, but quite a bit of that, half of that at least is foreign. I don't care if they're born on the soil. They say it's always more women. We've always had more women to our men because it's paramount, and our men were very strong. And one of our men can match 100 of theirs. And that's changed. And the reason why I'm talking about this is out of 330,000, there's 162 men, 162 million men. So that borders on more men being in the country than women. What is that based upon? Our women having going out there and following suit with Margaret Sanger in ignorance because they want to have physical fun, the division and separation of family, and we have melanated men running around calling themselves black and Negro and African American. And they haven't read James Baldwin, I'm Not Your Negro. They haven't paid attention to anything Martin Luther King ever really expressed as far as the name and narrative, and even Malcolm after he came back from so-called Africa or the continent, so named that now, and the diaspora of change etymologies, where he says, you and I are aborigines, but you don't want to be called that. And the whole lucid, if you call somebody black up into the early 1960s, they would cut your throat. Those who were still in the knowing, especially my family, was known for taking wayward Negroes and a whole lot of Peckerwoods out. They were known for it because of who we are. See, it's one thing when you know who you are compared to those who run around in the made-up world that they belong to. So I had a brother asking me, click up. I'm damn near so-called 60. I don't get into these years. I don't get into the birthdays and the celebrations, the Mother's, the Father's Day, the fake 4th of July, the George Washington fake chopping down a cherry tree, the fake Abe Lincoln being pale skinned when everybody knows that he was melanated. His father, everything alludes to that right in front of everybody's face. But these small hat want to show you that they're grossly neglectful and powerful in their warlike mentality. And y'all have subjugated yourselves to it. Anybody in Georgia don't have nothing to say to me unless you start coming out of Georgia. There is a cesspool of deviants. And if you want to follow fame and all that crap, when it was my generation that reinstituted or created hip hop, breakdancing, so-called, which it's not brand new, but the way we did it, okay, in the 70s. Don't ever talk to me like one of those dumb niggas on the street. Because see, black, nigger, negro, and all that, that's dead in law. I know what Charleston White's doing, but he tells you never done accomplishing goals, right? He points out what it means. It doesn't literally mean what it was utilized by the ignorance of those who could not read nor write, who were brought up institutions, whether it be in the boarding schools, because it wasn't just the Mongols, but the mongrels. You want to talk about Gog and Magog, you want to talk about religion, you don't know half of what you're talking about. And a lot of you wear these big things around your neck talking about crucifix, Star of David. You don't even know the origin of those. And yet, even in that, knowing that there are those of us who look at you and watch you, there is no linking or clicking up. You either come over on this side or you stay on that side. Let me tell you about liberals. Let me tell you about these professors and these teachers. Let me tell you about Pol Pot. Let me tell you about Khmer Rouge. Let me tell you about killing fields. Let me tell you about what you know nothing about after World War I up until and after World War II, Nicholas Tsar V being a mulatto, just as Epstein, as Einstein. Every time your youth and your youth is used up by scarily, mental, and the heart of, and what your job was asked of you, or you partook in, whether Hollywood and music or the sports complex industry, okay, they get rid of you, or they put you in some corner, or they still use you. They will line you up when because they don't need you. You betrayed. You betrayed everybody. You have done exactly what they required you to do and needed to be done, and they get rid of you. And if they find that you're going to tell the truth and you're no longer pertinent to the cause that is not fulfilled, they get rid of you. For example, John F. Kennedy, an Ashkenazi Irishman. Okay? When he decided to come up out of that, he had a son. See, nobody ever points this out. And when he realized his son, the importance of his life and what he may have to deal with, because he wasn't sure when everything might unfold, they said, oh, no, we got to take him out. Now, we've come to call it the military-industrial complex. No, it's more perverted and deeper than that. And you have no clue. Never ask me about linking up and clicking up. That's like saying gravy and tossing salad. That's some old homosexual stuff. And no, it's not how it's going to work. All right? Let me tell you about the industry and the fiat that you keep working, because you haven't done nothing. How much acreage do you have? How much land do you have? We belong to land. We shouldn't be paying. First of all, we shouldn't, because they didn't pay no rent, no taxes. You know how many things I bought that I didn't pay taxes on, arguing with dumb pale skins who don't know no better? Now, I wasn't arguing with them. They were arguing. I was keep pointing out the facts. And they would make a phone call. I don't think that phone call could be made now. And they say, no, he don't pay taxes. Whether it's the cell phone, this note, the laptop down there at Best Buy over in Jersey when I bought it, that laptop right there, that's 15 years old, 16 years old. It still runs like brand new. Because I don't be on porn and all that other goofy stuff and games and all that other foolishness. You and I are not the same, people. I keep telling you this. And it's not to berate and belittle you. I am asking you to elevate yourself, to illuminate yourself, to bring yourself. I'm using these words because these are words that you understand. Because I start using other words, you'd be like, he crazy. He's a madman. Whatever. More of their terminology. Rise to the friggin' occasion. I ask people to come over and follow because I want them to walk with me, not to follow me. I have to use that word because it's the word that is implicated in your delusional raising. Well, I need you to ascend. I love all my brothers and sisters. It matters not what walk of life. Those who are a little more clairvoyant, who have not succumbed to the toxification of their bloodline or anything else. I don't care if you A, B, R, H, or whatever. My family being mostly O negative, me coming out O positive, and my other brother coming out O positive. My brother Dwight, his father was Alonzo Robb. Yes, we have Chinese in our family, Spanish bloodline, and Dutch, Deutschland, Ashkenaz. And those are all hybrid. All three of those are hybrid. And they came to pollute the family to remove our royal standing, which we are still royalty. Robert E. Lee was not some pale skin. That's why when I called the family and I asked them, why are y'all living a lie? They hung up the phone and I called back 4 times. These so-called descendants. And somebody's answering and says, who are you? And I said one name. And it was quiet. I'm sorry, and hung up. See, y'all have not one clue. But you run around in this little made-up fictional world, hating and bartering and fighting, and not even knowing that you're bartering, hating, and fighting. No rationale in thought. Conscripted to the layman's terms laid out before you. Most of these Pelicans don't even know their own truth. They didn't stop just bringing them over in the 17 and 1800s. They came over all the way to the 1920s up into the 1960s. What is wrong with you people? I watched this idiot in California, and I could tell you he ain't been here on this land that long. Riding down the street, calling these family, these women, melanated women, nigga, let's just sound like he was stuck in his Asperger's or his, what do they call it when the people go start cussing and stuff? I'm out of medical terminology, y'all. I'm not a practicing nurse, and you know, it's been a long time since medicine. But anyway, that whatever that click, tick, tick stuff is that they do, and that's all I saw. It wasn't even that; it was hate. It was such an inbred aptitude of stupid ideology of nothing. And I guarantee you that idiot thinks this family been here for eons, and he probably is first generation. Guaranteed. Know how many veterans I've met from Russia, brought here as children and adopted? You'll have absolutely no clue, do you? Because you never asked the hard questions. You know how many melanated brothers here were brought back from our people, millions who went over there and came back as orphans because of the wars, or from the Caribs? And their ignorance is based upon their re-education. Did you get that re-education implemented of lies? And they run around, I'm Zoe, people from Africa, blah, 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 because they're too stupid to know better. And I don't say that to be demeaning, because that's what it is. If you really look up the etymology of the word, just dumb. They move inexcusably in ignorance, out of order. And then most people sit there and they communicate with me, and they don't realize that they're not really saying nothing. And do you know what it's like for me to have to sit there and burden that? It's hard. Not saying that it's too complicated that I can't. It's hard because it's an internal tear. So never approach me if you're not talking about the betterment of the people. If somebody hit me up, you talk about one way, but you say segregation. Yes, I need to educate your dumb ass, because if you was paying attention, you wouldn't ask me in the Gmail. I said the message back. If you wasn't asking me this dumb ass question, you would know otherwise. And I had to come hard at you, and you take it however you choose. They responded a couple of days later. I guess they had to read it 100 times. I don't know. If you're watching, appreciate you. It says, I get you. I don't want you to get me. I want you to walk on your own 2 damn feet and start snapping out of that coma you're in. So whenever you're going to communicate, because you are used to talking to idiots around you, you don't realize you're talking with idiots. That means you're an idiot with them. So whenever you want to communicate outside of the borders of the parameters of where you communicate at in your stupid liberal mind, remove yourself from that. I'm not asking you to be conservative either. We are the original Republicans for the Republic of Tartary. The autochthonous of this land. No more, no less. Everybody else acting like us don't even know about our true history and what we've accomplished and what we did. Because they couldn't do what we have done. They haven't invented nothing. They never repaired nothing after the Reconstruction era. Oh, during the Reconstruction era, the stuff they were building, are you aware that it was us working on it? Are you aware why the pictures are so well hidden? When I was reading to y'all about who created the engine and this, that, and the other, and everybody was going, what? And why were they all coming here and then going back home and working on trying to build the atomic bomb? Nobody's paying attention to nothing except for the little fake world they live in with the fake little fame and their little goofy egos and their dumb, immoral actions, and don't want to make the correlation for correction. Look at that. I said all that without even saying hyphen of a nasty word. You know, I had to make my tea this morning. Magoji, grounded. I want to show you something. Well, I have plenty of Nikes, but I like TRU's. The sister, I'm going to show you her sneakers. Or I'm going to show you one pair. I'm not going to show you all of them. This is not a dress. Then we're going to read Iron Republic. Listen. See this right here? TRU's wear? These are the sneakers I like to wear, made by a sister. She had an issue with her hormones. She's getting it together. She was down. She plays a lot of flag football and stuff like that. If you look on Instagram, I've got like 6 pair of these. I'm waiting on my tan and my green that I'm going to use while I'm fasting for my descension and ascension blood purification at that my birth year. Well, birth date, birth time that I was birthed in the world, but I can't go back to the 60s, made up 60s. Now I'm not going to say it on here, but I've already detracted 500, 800, and 1,000 years, and I looked at the period of time, what year this would really be, to acclimate to myself to the proper format of time that I was actually birthed into this, brought into this world through the womb, through the water of life. Water below, water above. We're born in water, regardless of how it's not toxic and poison, which a lot of you are coming through now, or have. So I wear those. Now, when I wear those, I put pennies in them. Even though they might be 20% copper and stuff, it helps with the grounding because of the rubber and the synthetics. This is a no-name. I wear a lot of these. Made in China, some made here. What I do, I only did it in one pair, and they're over there sitting up in the window drying. What I do is I take thick copper, 18th millimeter, I forget what it is, 18th, whatever it is. Anyway, and I drill a little hole, and then I slowly, with pliers, push the copper in, all as far as I can. I get as many as I can, and I got this little rubber filler that I'll put on the back of it, like fix a clack. Then on the inside, I make a slit, and I slide pennies where it's comfortable up under the bunion of my toe, that part, and my heel. Yes, so that when I'm walking, and you can put copper tacks, that shoe tacks, for tapping and stuff. That way you don't hurt your feet. That way, even though you have this rubber and this synthetic crap that breaks your grounding, breaks your electric connection to the earth, you override it. Now, this is very thin. This is recycled petroleum-based plastic. So this is very aerated. My energy is hyped up. This doesn't cut off shit. No, this doesn't cut off nothing. I couldn't. That was my redundant, inappropriate. No excuse. I should not. Anyway, so just want you to see that. All right. I want you to take that and take heed of that. And later on, I'm gonna bring out some things. I'm gonna bring my tote up, and I'm gonna show you some things. And hopefully that you've done it yourself and got yourself a few things just to have. Just in case. Do any of y'all have 4 months? I would say hopefully 2 years supply worth of food, way of knowing how to get water. I'm just asking. Pickaxe, shovels, not just one. Electric jackhammer. I mean, hey, spend $500, you can get one. Solar panels. Do you know how to order a couple of tin cans? The old metal cans with a good sealing lid. Put you some cardboard in the bottom. First, take metal, electric tape. The metal tape. All the corners and crevices, cover them around. If you can't afford, it's like $160. The little lining that goes where the seal is, the gasket, which is for EMF, whatever. Go ahead and get you some thick tin foil. Aluminium foil, all right? Fold it up 7-8 times and put it around the ledge and put that tape around it, and then make sure it get a tight seal. Get you some cardboard, cut that out, and make sure you can fit it in there. So roll it and make sure you can fit it in there. 2 layers and about 2 layers around the sides, and underneath the top, hit it with that silver tape. put cardboard. Now you can put your jackery, you can put your cell phone, your different things, your AM, FM radios, your two-way radios, so the batteries don't burn out. Get your car battery, put it in there. If you got extra fuses, get them. You don't have to worry about the wires. You don't have to worry about radio and all that other stuff in the vehicle. You just want to be able to get a battery, get a spark to the solenoid to turn it over, even if you got to use a screwdriver, so know what kind of vehicle you have. That way you can go ahead and get the gas cranking, get you some extra spark plugs, throw them in there, because if a high altitude explosion that doesn't kill everybody happens and the EMF pulse is kicked off, that electromagnetic field, right? It fries everything. You'll have something that's protected. You can do it with a big and small ammo can, the very same thing. Okay? Are you listening? Are you really paying attention? I'll show you some of my water purifiers. I have an old video. I'll maybe upload it again. It's up on here on how to make activated charcoal using lump wood, coal, and lemon. Grinding it up. There's a video. I shared it on Facebook. I shared it everywhere. I shared it with people. Most people are insensitive to themselves and they pay no attention. All right? I do want to go out and show you all how to start some fires using some rudimentary things. This right here is not just my ceramic sharpening stone. All right? This is also my ferro rod. Okay? Then I can take a certain stone and get a spark. I take lint. I keep all my lint from my dryer, and I take wax, paraffin wax, and I put it in little cups and pour the wax in, and that's a great slow fire starter. It's like nitroglycerin, but it's petroleum with buzz in there from your clothes. People, this is not complicated. I keep extra shoelaces in case I have to make a bowstring. Get a compression rock or a stone. Get a piece of wood, burn a hole in it, and make a notch in it, which we call an hourglass, so we can get a good coal going. To make a bird nest with some chip, especially if you can get birch. And then once you get the coal in there, you got to know how to hold it and blow under. Get a smoke to get a flame going to start a fire. Then y'all know how to start a wet fire. Do you know how to use a battery? And just, spring, a coil. Crack open a light bulb. Do y'all know how to do any of that stuff, people? And you think it's a game. For those who survive it, those who don't go to sleep and carried away into a new place that's been built that you know nothing about. For those who make it, who can sustain through that and put up a fight. Do any of y'all? No. How many of you are taking a plant-based iron supplement or eating enough vegetables? It's even being robbed as we talk. If they haven't already put that crap and changed the dynamics of it by mislabeling it. Because most stuff that say organic, it's not organic. They have been playing a very sick game, people. And y'all are very docile. I know some of you are still using fluoridated toothpaste. Some of you are still drinking tap water, going to Starbucks, getting that crappy sugared up, which sugar feeds cancer. You know that? Alzheimer's, memory loss, and all that. All right? Getting that Starbucks coffee and McDonald's and Dunkin' Donuts coffee, eating that crappy human DNA food, which they probably spliced into everything because they've been far ahead. You're not fasting. But you're moving around people who are just as sick as you, and you don't even see it because you're just as sick as them. How many people are loading up on the magnesium? This right here is ionic. I don't do colloidal when it comes to liquid zinc. I take solid form, pill form, or let me show you. Let me show you what ionic is. Ionic, most people don't even know about that. They go, well, Red, well, how you figure? Just don't worry about how I figure. It's not about how I figure. It's by studying. I don't have time to be in the same circle as everybody else. That is ionic zinc. This is what I use. Yes, there's ionic copper and silver and gold as well. I take chelated when it comes to those though, because I want slow digest. I want to make sure first my gut is well. Ginger with manuka honey. So that's a carb, but it's not a bad sugar. At room temperature, at least 72 degrees. The other thing, once I get off of here, I'm gonna read a little bit, is different types of teas. I don't drink the same tea. Tea is not a good thing for you all the time. This right here is just my lavender and lemon. I didn't drink that yesterday. Remember, I drink something different. About a teaspoon of lemon oil with citric acid, plant-based form of vitamin C, and I'll sip on this throughout the day. So I'm still eating meat. I've got grits, and I've got about 6 eggs scrambled up with cayenne pepper and Japanese 7 spice. It's very spicy. A lot of y'all, some of y'all know, not a lot of y'all, but some of y'all know I like the Carolina Reaper, even though it's a hybrid. It's just cross-breeded, 2 different peppers. And the chocolate boucle, very hot, had your butt hurting. I like very spicy, hot food. Turmeric, curry is in the grits, and green. I use the green. I really like the green salt that I'm utilizing. I don't have the pamphlet up here; it's downstairs. But I also like black Hawaiian ash salt and Dead Sea or sea salt with iodine. It's got to have iodine. Or I eat seaweed. I'll add seaweed to my grits just to get the iodine. Even though I take this which is based upon a kelp. Okay, 1 drop in a little water. You don't need a lot of it to protect the thyroid and keep you, what else? Every morning, I take NMN. This is like $100, y'all. Got like 5 of them, 4 or 5. When I eat, because I don't really eat a whole lot of beef and stuff, I'm not buying no more. I take 3 creatine whenever I work out. It's taken 3 times a day. I don't need that much, but I take it once. So I like the crazy muscle because of the creatine blend. Very studied, and I don't need it to be FDA approved. Though I do hardcore research, and then upon that, because I know the importance of beef, organ foods. We grew up eating liver and cow tongue, and I did. I don't know about you. What do you call that? The fried nuts, the fried testicles. But forget a steak. If you was to have a big old salad with about 3 boiled eggs and some fish, you take 5 of these bad boys, pop you some creatine, go work out, you have a pump like nitric oxide. I'm now allergic to beets, my favorite vegetable. What is doing it? The medicine that the VA put me on that was never meant to be on. Because they're a very sick group of individuals. The government's a very sick group of individuals that move like one. I would hope that, and I'm not a person that have allergies. It's not my blood, it's the chemicals. The heavy metals do things. Now I can go back to doing it once I reset myself. Because I love my beets. And I can eat beets, I just can't have beet juice. Is that kind of weird, right? Because it's concentrated, and I make some of the best beet juice with lime and lemon and carrot and apple. Oh, my beet juice is phenomenal. But anyway, I just wanted to share some tea. Now let me go ahead and read a little bit. I hope y'all don't mind this morning. Then, for those guys who have a problem with the testosterone, I'm gonna suggest if you don't want to get to if you don't want to utilize anything like terkestrone, which actually really works. I don't use it. I have it because it came in a box that I ordered. Every time I order it, I get these. And then which makes it as well. Theirs might be a little better as far as when you talk about Black Forest, terkestrone. They have one too. It might be better. I'm just not going to get I'm not spending all that kind of fiat. But when it comes to what you call it, I like ashwa and you know, let's look it up. I'm not gonna sit here breaking it all down for you. I'm just gonna share the information. You do the research. I mean, something bad might come out of it later on. I'm not really using it right now. I took it for 2 weeks. I was surprised at the results of 2 weeks voting it. So I have it just in case. My testosterone's fine, surprisingly. X works. Now, I'm not getting paid. No, I probably could sit there and tell them, hey, look, I'm utilizing your stuff, blah, 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 blah. I can send a letter to them, and they probably would every time send me packages. And maybe I might do that. Not right now. Okay? And make sure you take some chlorophyll, people. 15 drops and 8 ounces of water every other day. But eat. Eat. Don't be living off of smoothies. That just ruins your whole gut. Eat. You gotta let your saliva, the silica, you gotta let your brain function, you gotta let your heart know your gut. Your body is responsible. Now, I don't believe we're supposed to eat no more than once a day, honestly. But it's what are you putting in your body? Leave ravioli, Chef Boyardee, leave all that crap alone with the FDs, yellow, red, all that blue stuff. Leave Gatorade. That ain't nothing but pure poison. It ain't what it was when it was created on the sidelines with salt and fruit. Listen to me. Leave all that crap that 50 Cent was pushing with the XXL. That stuff is deadlier than, man, listen to me. And all these like Monster, that is literally the Yiddish 666. Now, they perverted. Doesn't mean something bad, but they have. But we don't want to get caught up in that right now either, okay? Do yourselves a favor. It might be in the last moment. It may not be. Change the directions. We all should be together. I see all these people walking around fame making dollars and they ain't got land. They ain't bringing people together to work the land, to build up and be one, move as one conscious. You dig what I'm saying? So anyway, let's go ahead and turn this off because I'm going to turn the music off when I'm reading. We're going to read Iron Republic. Then we're going to come back on. We're going to, ladies, I'm sorry. I shared a video. I don't know if y'all looked at it. It was a little short. I was tired. I was very tired. And I got some sleep and woke up, went back to sleep, woke up, got some more sleep. So I got maybe roughly around seven hours of sleep. I want to get some more, I ain't gonna lie, but it was good. You feel me? It was good. So it's the Iron Republic. This is edited by CJ Austin. So you get where I'm coming from. This is from the original individual's writing, supposedly. Okay. All right. We're in chapter 2. So we're going to read American Covenant and Women of Lemuria first in a few hours after I eat. Well, what time is it right now? Let me see. It's 8:01, 9, 10, about 11, 12 o'clock. When I get ready to eat, I'll come back on. We'll read that. And then a few hours after that, we'll go ahead and we'll cut into the other books. But this is what we're going to go ahead and read right now. Let's bring this a little closer. I got my tablet charging here. It actually turns it off. And well, I let it go down to like 10%. I should have let it die all the way. Good way to refresh your battery is to let it die. Let your phone die all the way. Then charge it. When it gets to 100, disconnect it. Use it and let it die all the way. This is how you keep the battery fresh. Okay, so they design these batteries last about 4 or 5 years. All right, it's like the TVs now. They're designed to last about 4 or 5 years. Pathetic what they're doing. But because nobody knows or speaks or says anything, this is what we got. So, here we go, chapter 2. Let me take a little sip of this. I didn't put there's no honey in here though. Oh, that's hot. Oh, that's hot. I gotta take tea bags out, y'all. Oh, that's hot. Oh yeah, squeezing it. I squeeze it with my, look, I'm holding it with my hand because it's hot, it's burning. And I'm just like, I override it with my mind. Okay, it's hot. Okay, yeah. Okay, I'm not gonna get a blister. I'm not worried about it. It's hot. So what? No, seriously, it's hot. I'm boiling my fingers right now. But here, I don't care. Now I don't feel it. No, it's still hot. It's hot. Oh, take my phone. This is control. I'm dead serious, y'all. This is boiling hot. That's enough. I proved my point. Hold on. Oh God, that's hot. All right, let's get into the Iron Republic. Chapter 2. As soon as possible after the disastrous termination of my first political campaign, which y'all know he was running for office, and who fooled him? The Democratic Party. I turned everything into gold and going down to New York, bought the fine vessel which now lies in this harbor. Somewhat the worse for wear now, but still staunch and seaworthy. I shipped a good crew and a captain who had spent 20 years of his life playing hide and seek with icebergs as master of a weller. And my intention was to go on a 3 years cruise into the Arctic regions and probably remain there, devoting the remainder of my life to the good of those isolated people, running the ship back and forth to the port of some civilized country. After conversation with Captain Brent, however, I changed my plans and decided to go south instead of north. My reason for this was that Captain Brent had done all of his whaling in southern waters and was familiar with every piece of terra firma from the Straits of Magellan to Kerguelen's land and knew nothing whatever about the Arctic regions. And inasmuch as my object was to get away and as far away as possible from the haunts of civilized men, I readily agreed and drew the papers for a 3 years cruise to extend as far south as I should desire, open water permitting. On the 17th day of June, 1895, having on board stores for a 3 years cruise, $50,000 in gold coin in an iron safe in my private cabin, and a picked crew, I sailed out of New York Harbor, literally shaking the dust of my native country from my feet, and carrying a lighter heart than I had for months past. It is not necessary to draw out and magnify the incidents of this voyage. There are writers, in parentheses it states W. Clark Russell, for instance, and whose business in life is to describe sea voyages. Now, the chief interest in this story must lie in what was accomplished by the voyage itself. In my cabin with my books under an awning on the poop, which is the poop deck, with Captain Brent, who was extremely, me being a Navy man, right? a sea mariner, was extremely well informed for a seaman, or making myself at home with the sailors before the mast. Every hour was pleasantly employed. Winds were very favorable considering the season of the year, and we drew down rapidly towards the tropics. Now, I've been around the Horn. I've been down there, you. Okay? That's all I'm going to say. A few times. On the 10th of August, we crossed the equator, and I brought out half dozen bottles of wine and a box of cigars. We got shillelied and beat every time. I'm a golden shellback anyway. And had the sailors, who were all smart American boys, aft. About the last of September, we passed the Cape and began to realize that we were indeed leaving the habitable world and passing into a solitude of waters whose southern boundaries were unknown. And here our real voyage began. There is a fierceness and blackness in these wild waters below below the Cape, that those familiar only with the ship courses of the Atlantic and Pacific can form no conception of. I'm trying to tell you, wilder and wilder grew the sea as we drew southward. But Captain Brent was an old navigator, and I feared the terrors of the whole Antarctic region not so much as a single cartoon in an American newspaper. Cartoon. In 151 days after leaving New York, we encountered ice, and a month later, we were sailing along the southern ice barriers that towered, listen to this, like sapphire cliffs as far as the eye could see in either direction. It was now summertime in these regions, and Captain Brent said he had never seen the sea so clear of ice. Wells spouted in every direction, loving, and seafowl by thousands sailed above us or perched among the icy precipices, and which is like the edges and stuff like that. The grandeur of the scenery about us at this time baffles description. As we sailed leisurely east by south, there was a wall of ice on our right, ranging from 50 to 300 feet high, giving out with a splendor which no artist may portray. The gorgeous hues of the rainbow, in some places the cliffs overhung, making great grottos in which the largest ship might float. On the 23rd of December, we sighted the lofty summit of Mount Erebus. Erebus. Listen to that, Mount Erebus. That's some Egyptian stuff, right? I told you about the maps that I have. Okay. The only volcano so far as is known in the Antarctic regions. On the 29th, turning a spur or promontory of ice that jutted out many miles into the sea, we ran into a great cove landlocked, or rather ice-locked, where the water was smooth and where the cliffs shelved up gradually from the water's edge, reaching back and up many thousand feet, to where the opal-tinted ice shaded off into the dull gray and brown of the rugged and barren rocks of Mount Erebus. Standing on the deck of the ship and looking up the wide and regular incline of ice that extended from the water's edge up to where the rugged sides of Mount Erebus showed above, I enjoyed one of the grandest sights ever looked upon by man. This sloping incline was broken into hundreds of terraces, down which the melting snow water dashed in innumerable cascades and poured into the sea, making great banks of fleecy foam that froze and floated away as it were gossamer icebergs. Phenomenal. As I gazed up this terrace incline from the placid sea to the towering heights beyond, I looked like a marble stair. It looked like a marble stairway leading up to heaven, so broad and grand in its mighty sweep that all the tribes of earth might mount. I love this. Upon it. It was a picture that Milton or Horner might have used in their immortal epics of gods and angels. The water lapping over terraces and leaping downward here and there was as white as milk, and in the distance looked like gauzy draperies of lace and down spread on the mighty stairway, as archangels might spread them for gods to walk upon. No grander sight was ever looked upon by seer or prophet in the most enraptured vision. They really wanted to capture you here, didn't they? Throwing those words around like that. This phenomenon, so remarkable in these regions of ice and snow, where the temperature is always below the freezing point, was caused by the heat of Mount Erebus, melting the ice and snow that climbed up its sides for thousands of feet. The volcano was in a mild state of eruption, and I suppose the hidden fires on this side had melted down the ice walls and worn away this great thoroughfare to the sea by pouring down a continuous flood of water. The ascent looked accessible, and I determined to make an effort to reach the great cone and have a view of these unknown regions. We had Christmas dinner on board that evening, after which Captain Brent read from his manual, all right, Dion, a service suitable for the occasion. And perhaps, with the exception of myself, everyone on the ship yearned for home and its associations on this day of universal joy and gladness. The boys looked blue enough until I brought out a great bowl of punch, but that soon brought them back to a state of warmth and merriment. A fine carouse the fellows had. When I proposed to lead a party to climb Mount Erebus next day, everyone volunteered to go, and my only difficulty was in making a selection. I chose three of the hardiest, and the next morning, with rubber boots reaching to our waists and so wrapped in woolens that we might pass a night without harm. Now, parenthesis it states, if we could but get above the ice and water. Oh, it makes sense. I was questioning that. We lowered a boat and pulled into the shelving beach, taking along an extra, that means beach made out of shells, along an extra arm reaching out over the water, extra crew to carry the boat back to the vessel. Laying our boat alongside the ice, we had no difficulty in effecting a landing, as the water was quite smooth and in many places we could easily step out on the ice. And to my surprise, I found the ascent less difficult than I expected. Picking out the easiest ways and keeping as much as possible out of the water, we reached a secondary cone or summit about 2/3 of the way up. As darkness, or rather the twilight of the Antarctic night, closed in upon us, the surface was quite dry and warm, and I never spent a more comfortable night in these frozen regions than on this lofty peak on Mount Erebus. Getting under a ledge of rock that sheltered us from the wind, which cut like a knife, we slept soundly without fear of mice or bedbugs. That night, we witnessed the grandest display of the aurora australis, not the borealis, australis, that perhaps any human eyes ever looked upon before. We were 8 or 9 thousand feet above the sea, and the luminous bands of purple and orange colored light seemed to spring up from all around us. And as they spread towards, I remember watching Ace Live, and you could see the orange and the purple hues. It's true. Towards the zenith, and then dipped umbrella shaped to the horizon. The white desolation of this frozen world was suffused with supernatural glory. As we looked out and away on that endless panorama of crags and cliffs and peaks of what seemed to be mountain ranges below us, all deathly white in this unearthly light, it looked like the ghost of a dead world. The scene was overpowering, and after a hasty survey, we were glad to clamber down into our little gorge, out of the uncanny light, and smoke our pipes. Excuse me. That's weird. Anyway, it says, out of the uncanny light and smoke our pipes, and hear each other's voices to bring us back, as it were, to ourselves. Now, this volcano is on the coast of Victoria Land, and that's named after Britain and America. This place they found their outpost still there, people. Anyway, Victoria Land, and in all probability, we were the first human beings who ever set foot on it. Yeah, it is between 70 and 80 degrees south latitude and looking east or west as far as the eye could see, with the exception of the stairway, like slope up, which we had climbed, stretched an unbroken wall of ice, looking southward, though, with the aid of a glass, binocular. I could plainly see an open sea very much like that on the north and clear of ice. I studied the situation carefully. And here was the impenetrable ice barrier that had baffled every explorer of these southern seas. All below this latitude was supposed to be a continent of ice and snow. Men had sailed down here and been dashed against this wall or had gone back dismayed. But here on the south was the open sea, which, if it could be reached, offered the curious navigator opportunity to go heaven only knew where. The more I looked at that great open sea, the more I became convinced that there was a passage somewhere through the icy wall connecting these two bodies of water. So we made the descent without incident, and I entrusted Captain Brent to hold a safe distance from the ice and circumnavigate the entire Antarctic circle or find a passage through the ice. Fully imbued then with the idea that the earth was a sphere, I suppose that this body of water on the south as simply an open polar sea surrounded by walls of ice, he suspected. The next day it came on to blow a gale of sleet and snow, and we fought northward for 4 days through such a storm as can only rage in the frozen seas about the South Pole. During these entire 4 days, it was so dark that we could not see the top mast from the deck. Though every spar and shroud was white with ice, several times we were in dangerous proximity to icebergs, but standing to windwards as we were, we could smell the mighty monsters, though we could not see them, and keep away the smell of an iceberg, as it is called by seamen, is the peculiar crispness of air blowing over one of these great bodies of ice, and may be felt for miles. And that's, yo, the icebergs, when the air hits that thing, it's a different kind of cold. You know, when it hits your nose, you know it's there. If you can't see it, you know, it's around. So you really peculiar and you really, really watch crow's nest. Anyway, the vessel was awash with capstan to will, and though we could carry scarcely more canvas than would give us steerage way, her lee scuppers were most of the time dragging through the hissing brine, and it was absolutely necessary for every man above deck to lash himself to the rigging to keep from being washed overboard. We call that a lifeline. Cooking was out of the question, and for 4 days there was no fire in the cook's gallery. Our diet during this time consisting of sea biscuits and tinned food, with an occasional pannikin of rum to keep up the warmth. It was a fearful time, and though we had encountered much heavy weather on the voyage, we had experienced nothing comparable with this. Indeed, Captain Brent said afterwards that in all his 20 years of voyaging in these waters, he had never passed through so terrible a gale. And I'm telling you, it gets bad. I'm going to share a story I shared before when we get done with this chapter. Only the staunchness of our ship and the skill and experience of our skipper saved us from destruction. It may not be irrelevant or presumptuous to me also to feel that an overruling providence guided us through this ice-strewn and storm-whipped sea, that the great results of our voyage might be achieved. When the terrific storm subsided and the atmosphere cleared so that we could again see about us, the towering ice barriers were nowhere to be seen. How much northing had we made? You like that, Papa? It was impossible for us to tell, as we had entirely lost our reckoning. Heading southward again until we raised the ice wall along which we had been coasting before the gale, we shaped our course parallel to it and held on with the view of finding a passage through it, if there was such a thing. 14 days after this, during which time we encountered all sorts of weather, in parentheses, for there are never many days together in these seas without a wild sort of wind and snow from some direction. End. Captain Brent called me up from my cabin and, handing me his looking glass, directed my attention to an opening in the wall of ice before us. Two crystal promontories jutted out into the water on either hand, and between a narrow but well-defined and open strait. We could not see through, as it was sinuous, but after observing it for some time, we could perceive by the loose ice that was floating about the mouth that a current set into it. I instantly gave directions to have the vessel headed into the strait. In vain, Captain Brent remonstrated and declared that we must be lost if we encountered an ice pack or were overtaken by a storm in this narrow place. The wind is fair, said he, but if we encountered an ice pack blocking the passage, as we most likely shall, we can never navigate the ship out again without more sea room. It was the first serious disagreement we had ever had since we started on the voyage, and I could not but feel that as a navigator with the responsibility for the vessel and the lives of the crew, he was right. I begged him, though, to lay in as close as he could to the mouth of this strait, that we might examine it more closely and put the vessel's head in towards the opening, intending to have to and claw off the shore as the wind was light and the sea comparatively calm. And there it did seem that Providence was furthering my apparently wild purpose. Excuse me. For when we had dropped the ship into within a few hundred feet of the opening and ordered the helm down to bring her about, the wind suddenly failed, so that there was no steerage way enough to bring the vessel's head around, and we drifted helplessly at the mercy of the waves. Instantly, all was commotion, for a ship on a shore without wind is in as perilous condition as a steamer with a broken wheel. That means the waves of the waters took the ship. The bow anchor was quickly cleared and the lead cast, but there was no bottom, and so to cast anchor would be useless. The current had now caught us, and there was nothing for it but to head straight into the opening or be broken to pieces on the icy promontories, walls, okay, that stood out like Cilia and Charybdis on either hand. And my heart bounded as we passed between the towering ice walls, and I felt a thrill of excitement such as Columbus must have experienced when when the long looked for Antilles lifted on his expectant vision. Excuse me. Yo, that's kind of like the navigator. It is the navigator who crossed the ice wall, people. Anyway, Captain Brent's ship Wanderer, as she appeared in her return photograph at Tampa. Holy smack. So next we'll get into chapter 3 tomorrow. Wow. 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 Pretty awesome, right? I appreciate anybody that was able to hang in there and stick with me through that read. Some of the words are always captivating. Like I said, I had to take a break from studying languages because it started making me see things weird. You know what I mean? Still there. I'm still waiting for people to help me out to get the rest of these books. I don't know what's going on. I hope y'all not broke. I got a couple of big water jugs filled with silver coin, maybe a few $100s in each one. I mean, no, it serves purpose. Anyway, it's time for me to get something to eat. Oh, well, the story I was going to tell you. Yeah, the first time I went around the Horn, it's called the southernmost tip of so-called South Americas. Anyway, we had these ropes on the deck, and the aircraft were 18 to 24 pointed, so that way they couldn't be blown or washed off. Ice, the whole deck, everything had these layers of ice. Now, you know that when I've read in the other books before, it says that the Anunnaki and the custodians, they created this wall to freeze everything and to keep everybody from going there except from the select few. That's why we have Admiral Knucklehead who went there, and they believe that he might be on the land of Mars fighting a war, being able to live 400 to 500 years now. Yes, you know what I'm talking about, paperclip and all that, paper jump and all that crap. That so-called admiral, the one who first told you the earth was flat, and then they took him away for a couple of weeks, and he came back telling you his enormous stories. Anywho, that they have these winds and stuff that keep you, that causes the waves and everything that's manipulated by certain machines and stuff to keep you away from the Antarctic. Though we went around there, let me tell you about being on a ship with 5,000 to 6,000 individuals. There's a list to the ship that if it goes over a certain thing, it can completely go under. And you really have to know how to navigate these waters. And I believe we always travel into to the torrential part of the waters to make us be fearful of ever wanting to go out to explore. And I've never been afraid of anything. I at night had to go and patrol that deck with Lifeline, this big yellow rubber suit with neon and gloves and mask, Sub-Zero. You can see the ship, the waves coming over the top of the ship. We're talking about the ship that well over 100 feet up, few hundred, right? We're talking about 3 football fields of a ship. Well, more than that, actually. And these lifelines, these big ropes going under the pad eyes that you have to you have to connect and crawl around to check all the aircraft on the flight deck. So there's 2 or 3 of you crawling around on this deck, where all the ships are in this area, besides the ones in the hangar bay. And you have to check and make sure they're tight, because there could be a little wind whip and they can get a little loose, these tie-down chains. And they're very durable and strong. And you make sure, and all the fluid and stuff's let out the aircraft, so they're bottomed out. So there's no, there's no, you know what I mean? And with the F-18s that have those little grasshopper legs, with the wheels, they're very low. You have to make sure every one of them, you have a tie-down, you have a strap that you can put around the chain to tighten it in case, and it's cold and frozen. So you really, and I was a power lifter, so you had to really, and I was always going to do my job no matter what. And it was amazing to be on a carrier so high up and a wave to come over and knock you flat on the deck of the non-skid. And you're sitting there in this dark with this weird ominous light, and you could see these waves of this ship, this big giant carriers, and you just on the ground crawling to the next aircraft. The lines go everywhere. It's like it's cobweb to check every aircraft. You and your partners, and you have different. You never without two or three. You know what I'm saying? And you just crawl along the rope and the deck. That's one of the jobs when I first went around the Horn, and that was taking a carrier over to the West Coast, supposed West Coast, the forest stall, the forest fighter, so it could be so-called decommissioned. And then I went around the Horn a few more times. So anyway, I just wanted to share that with you. Absolutely magnificent and beautiful, beyond anything you can imagine. I mean, anything. So I appreciate you guys hanging in there. We cleared the hour. I was doing my best to make it at 55 minutes, but I talked quite a bit in the beginning. So let me say hi to everybody, and then we're going to get up out of here. Oh, what's going on, beloved? Mikey Hill, beloved, what's cracking? Gray Wolf, what's going on, beloved? Rondo, used to be the first man. What's going on, beloved? Supposed to be my first man, bro. Snoo, what's up, baby girl? Mike. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Tourette syndrome. Thank you. You know, all them foul words. Thank you, and I just had the top on it. Syndrome, also called Tourette's mane. Yes. There's a video I want to show you guys. I could just go there and just share it so that way, but I want to play a little bit of it so that way you see it. And it's talking about Theosophical Society and Baklava and the individuals. And I want you to look at the gentleman who's giving the speech. It's not to beat nobody up, but I want you to pay attention to the smallest details of things, okay? Thank you, Snoo. Appreciate it. Little more of us know to use cuss words, trifling parents cussing around the children. Exactly. Orthogonist. Thank you. Indigenous, rather, descendants from migrants or colonists. What is that? All science, biology, medicine, adjective of an inhabitant of a place. Indigenous rather than descended from migrants or colonists. Exactly. That's what makes us different. Newly colonized on here to inhabited by people. Exactly. Drop the link. You like the sneakers? I'll hit you up. I'll hit you up. Oh, the Tron is Instagram. I'll hit you. I'll hit you up. I'll let you know. All right. Yeah, but you gotta know what you're doing though. It's more than just a text, hon. Herbo, what's going on, beloved? What's cracking, brother? Yes, sir. On here and go from appreciate you, hon. Yeah. Backtrack. Thank you. Iron Republic goes with a navigator across the ice wall. Yes, exactly. You playing your flute. No, y'all see every once in a while when I just jam out because it's a 3-hole flute. Every once in a while, because when I go out, before I go out, I do a low where you can barely hear it. It's kind of hard to do it. You got to put your lips just right, and to get the sound, it takes practice to blow it from the diaphragm. So you don't want a long puff. You just want to push your diaphragm up, and it gets a wind going over the part that brings the harmony, and then you just, if you know what it is, you want to. You know what I mean? And it's 3-hole flute. Everybody's looking at all the 4 and 6. I'm like, go ahead and rock with the 3. See what you accomplish with me. We're magic. We're magique. The Frozen Pirates by William Clark. Very good. Very good one. Mount Erebus is the second highest volcano in Antarctica, the highest active volcano in Antarctica, and the southwest. Yes, correct. Legend says Erebus was the son of the god Chaos, and his mother was Gaia, or Earth. Thank you, Lily. Anyway, who they conversed with the whales, who allowed the turtle. For those of us still running around talking about Turtle Island, that's a European term. I want y'all to look in to find out what is the actual chromagnetic name of our little beloved four-legged Gamera. Gamera is based upon those terms, Gaia, and that being the female. People think it was a male, and I keep telling people no, just like Mothra and Gamera. Godzilla was a female. Had Godzuki. People have a hard time getting the basics of where these bastions fundamentally created the stories they detain and blind us from the truth. So it's not turtle island. But I don't want to hurt people's feelings. Currently the most active volcano, and I just want to share that because most people are following black people. They're dead. Okay? Yeah. Yes, honey. That's the Southern Lights. Yes. Mm-hmm. Aurora Australia. Correct. I come from lineage of Navy men. And you know how this side, I still wear my old this thing's about 30 something 40 almost 30 40 years 37 years old, 36 years. This right here. This is my original. I have 3 of them from when I was in the Navy. My watch cap. Was that strong current again? Yeah. Sweet pea. What's up? What's up? I'm a bird. Yes, it's I'm a bird. So I appreciate everybody coming in, my beloved sisters. And if you show up, and my brothers, it's always 2 on 1. So if you're new, always check that notification bell. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. Give me that like so we can beat this algorithm. I appreciate you all. Here we're not about the nonsense. We just don't do that here. And most people actually have respect for that now. They see that if you're going to talk about something, you need to live it. And I'm all about that. When I was in the military, even when I was selling weed, those who were working with me, I led by example, even though, these fake laws and everything. And that was a different kind of weed. They don't have that kind of weed no more. This stuff is, I don't know, it's been messed with. It was different. I always led by example. Whether boxing, sparring, I would allow myself to get beat up. I'd be like, no, don't spar this guy. I'll spar him. You just watch, And they'd be like, man, you crazy. Man, look, it's the only way I'm going to learn, and see what falls work. When a guy kicked me, they made me piss blood, urinate blood. I saw what worked and what didn't work. And that's how you become better. Sometimes you get beaten down in a system of chaos to rise above the chaos. You know what I mean? Anyway, I appreciate you guys taking the time. Cashapp, you know what time it is. It's new. You can put it in there if you want. A few dollars, $5, so I can get the rest of these. I'm surprised, man. But anyway, I think I'll be getting my first check from YouTube. I don't know. We'll see. So I can get these books ordered. I should have 2 more coming. Y'all know I've got quite a few, and it's not going to stop. So if you want to add something to it and I just save it for later, it's going to go to some other books. You can always donate. I set up a podcast, I think, Friday evening. We're going to have a real nice one because I'm going to address some things that I think some individuals in their youth are still kind of, I think there's a little dismay. And I believe that we need to, I feel, forget what we want, but we need to address some things to better the situation for every individual. You know what I mean? So we can be robust in this nurturement, this growth. You know what I'm saying? Because it's easy for us to say things that canoodle with the onboard society of negativity. We can always negate the worst of who we are and rationalize it in more purgatory like mannerisms, which doesn't get us nowhere, but shows the rest of the world maybe we shouldn't be on our soil. We have to change that. And I know I played a role, but it was only to draw upon people's emotions or feelings, to get keep the weak away and bring the strong in. Now I'm looking at, well, maybe some of the weak that I pushed away or keep away really aren't that weak, but are like the rest of everybody, just misguided. And I first wanted to get the strongest. Now I need to curtail that, keep the strongest, as y'all keep learning, and then start allowing the recesses of those who are unsure. Unequivocally, unsure. They they have a desire, they have a want. So maybe I can better myself by finding a better way to nurture that and allow the questions. And actually, I always respond. And the best, as long as I see it, I find it. The best I can, I'll respond. And that's why I have y'all here, so you can assist. It's not a one woman or one man's performance. It's everybody. All right? I appreciate you all. I do. Now, I'm going to get off of here. I'm going to enjoy my tea. And I've got a book I'm reading. And I ain't telling you which one. Actually, I'm reading two. So, yeah, I slowed it down from reading the 4 or 5 books every day. Well, I mean, except for y'all, I'm really steeped in these 2 books that I'm reading on the side. I've got like 4 different groups of books that I'm going to read, like last for the next 9, 10, 12 months. That's phenomenal. These 2 books I haven't shared with you, I bought personally. It's just further research for me, and they're omnipotent. I mean, they're omnipotent. They're some heavy stuff. All right, no secrets. It just has to be done this way. Anyway, so I'm gonna get with y'all in a couple of hours. Well, about 12, 1 o'clock. All right, when I sit down to eat my first meal. All right. Again, you can donate. If it's $2 or $3, it doesn't matter. I'm not going to get rich. You're not going to, I guarantee you. Snooze or nurse, she knows I'm well off. All right. And besides, the family I come from, I don't live off their money. I got daughters who are rich. No, I'm all right. I've got gold. I'm good. So donate half and half. We split this. We still have our brother Trauma Hawk, Rondo. We have people who have land, y'all. We could be hot tenting, get rid of all this stuff, or put it in a U-Haul and bring it. I don't know. We get some sheds out there, build up some little small homes for the weather, and start building a community. But I don't know, man. Y'all can't even donate for books. Well, the ones who did are the same 5 or 6. And one brother gave 100. I hope that wasn't a one-time thing. But no, the 100, yeah. I don't need nobody donate no $100. Don't do that again. A few dollars, people. $5, $10, cool. The books are no more than 7, maybe some are. The books over $100, I personally buy. All right. Except for Snoop one time helped me buy this one book that's still oil. It's getting, the leather was so hard. That was an expensive one. But appreciate you guys, and let me get the heck off of here. And y'all, I did pretty good. No foul stuff, right? It's not hard, people. Anyway, love you all. Peace, love, and light.